All right, friends, we last left off working on the staircase on the root cellar, and now it's time to get started on the greenhouse. The first step is for me to get rid of all this plastic that's on the roof of the root cellar. That is also the floor of the greenhouse. So let's get started. So we're going to put 2 more courses of ICFs before we start the wooden structure. So I've taken the ICF, I've calculated out how much I need to cut off the inside edge in order for the ICF wall to remain plumb. So as you can see, I want my wall to remain plumb and level. So I've calculated out the amount to cut off, and I'm actually going to cut about 1/8 of an inch more, just so I can shim it and then leave room for the spray foam insulation to stick the ICF to the concrete so everything stays in place during the concrete pour. Now I need to come in here and pull these form boards off, and that's what gave me the exact height, and I ended up with a 5.5 inch concrete cap on top of the 8-inch ICF forms with the Geo-Pex inserted inside. And that's what all this is, the tubing, the red tubing for the Geo-Pex. So let's get these form boards out. Let's see how fun this is going to be. Beautiful. That was the last one. That wasn't too bad. We're going to continue on with the ICFs, but we're making one change. The below grade ICF is 8-inch core wall, and when we come above grade, we're going to switch it to a 6-inch core. Today we're going to start drilling the holes for the vertical rebar. So I've used my drawings and I've marked out the spots where I want to put the rebar, and it's every 2 feet. And the black marks are the rebar that's embedded in the concrete, so I want to avoid hitting that. The yellow marks are where I'm going to put the vertical rebar, and I did a really good check using the drawing, knowing where the PEX is in the concrete, because I would not want to hit any of that PEX. So let's get started. All right, friends, now that we have the vertical rebar in place, it's time to start putting in the bottom horizontal rebar. So let's get started. All right, friends, we have the bottom horizontal rebar in place right now. This rebar will be raised up about 2 inches and attached to the bottom clips of the ICF, so they'll be fully encased in concrete when we do the concrete pour of the stem wall. Our next step now is to get the ICFs in place, and I've already cut the required amount off of the bottom outside edge of the ICF. Let's get these unwrapped and set in place. So for the added extra insurance, I'm using the spray foam insulation about every 6 inches to tack weld the outside edge of the ICF form. Later on, I will come back and shim the inside wall, level it, and then tack weld that in place. I'm going to start with the corner pieces, so let's get started. I found out that as long as you put some weight on it, if the spray foam has a way to escape to the right and the left, it will expand to the right and left, and you'll avoid that uplift condition. But you got to have some weight on there during that dry time period. All right, you can see the lower course rebar. I raised it up, and you can see a tie wrap right here, just holding it up, getting it off of the floor. So the rebar will be fully encased in concrete. All right, friends, it's been about 5, maybe 6 hours since we spray foamed the lower course of the ICFs on. What I do is I bust off a little piece there, and I make sure it's completely dry inside. And if there was any sign of wetness, I wouldn't take the blocks off, but it's nice and crisp and dry. So at this point, I feel confident to take the blocks off. All right, friends, that's it. We got the first course of ICFs on. I was getting ready to go ahead and throw the second course on, and I had to slow down, think about this a little bit. I have some vent pipes I have to extend up that go through the concrete wall, so I want to get those in place. I have some conduit that also comes through the concrete wall, and it's much easier for me to work on it when it's only 16 inches tall at this point. So I got a 2-inch vent down here that I have to extend up, and right down here I have 2 3-inch vent pipes that will extend to the outside, and then 5 pieces of gray PVC that have to go up and extend inside the greenhouse. The blue line is a water line, and then 1.5 inch water drain line down there. So let me go grab that PVC parts and let's get them installed in place. Time to install the 5 pieces of conduit for the electrical. And my electrical is all going to be DC power running off of a solar system eventually. So this one I cut the plastic strap to get in all my piping, and after I got all my piping in, I went ahead and put a wire in. I also did it up here as well. Nice and tight. So now it's time to get another wrap around the perimeter with some more horizontal rebar. So let's get started with that. We're now ready to start the next course of ICFs. Well, that's it for the second course. That took about 6 hours, and in the middle of that I had to run and get another can of spray foam. That's it. Come back tomorrow, we'll take the blocks off. Once again, this is Steve from Pure Michigan Living. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.